a mother, a child, an unborn baby, all gone. And the only person left behind was the man who claimed he loved them. John Sharpe and his wife Anna did not have the kind of marriage people dream about, not even in the early days when hope is usually at its strongest. From the outside, they looked like a stable couple building a life together, but behind closed doors, their relationship was strained almost from the very beginning. Still, they stayed together even when love felt distant. They had a daughter named Gracie, a beautiful little girl whose arrival should have brought joy and healing into their lives. Later, Anna became pregnant again, this time with a baby boy they planned to name Francis. But just months before Francis was due to be born, something unspeakable happened inside the Sharpe family home. Something so disturbing that it would leave investigators shaken and a nation struggling to understand how a father could destroy the very family he was meant to protect. In the dead of night, someone entered Anna's bedroom and ended her life while she slept. Days later, that same person killed young Gracie as she lay in her bed. In the aftermath, only one person remained, a husband and father who claimed to be grieving, confused, and abandoned. His name was John Sharpe, and for a time, he convinced almost everyone that he was the victim in this story. There were no obvious witnesses and no immediate crime scene. For months, police struggled to find even the smallest piece of evidence that could explain what had happened to Anna and Gracie. When the truth finally surfaced, investigators realized that the monster they were looking for had been standing right in front of them the entire time. To understand how this tragedy unfolded, we need to go back to the beginning, to a quiet seaside town in Victoria, Australia, called Mornington. Mornington is the kind of place where people expect peace. It sits on the Mornington Peninsula, surrounded by beaches, wineries, and small local businesses. With a population of roughly 25,000 people, it feels more like a large village than a town. Families settle there for the schools, the safety, and the sense of community. John Sharpe was born and raised in Mornington on the 28th of February, 1967. He was one of 6 children, born to Valerie and Miles Sharpe. From an early age, John stood apart from his siblings. He was quiet, withdrawn, and uncomfortable in social situations. While other children formed friendships and played together, John kept to himself. He struggled with stress and anxiety and found it difficult to connect with people outside his immediate family. The only relationships he seemed truly comfortable with were those with his parents. At school, he was not particularly social and did not develop close friendships. Teachers described him as reserved and inward, a boy who rarely spoke unless spoken to. He finished secondary school and eventually found work at the Commonwealth Bank during the 1990s. It was there that he met Anna Kemp. Anna was originally from New Zealand. She had an easy smile, a sharp mind, and a natural confidence that drew people to her. Where John was quiet and rigid, Anna was expressive and emotionally open. She was also deeply religious, raised in a Catholic household where marriage was viewed as sacred and divorce was not an option. At the time they met, John was 27 years old, and Anna was 31. Working together every day, they grew close. What started as professional familiarity gradually turned into a romantic relationship. They dated for about a year, and in October of 1994, they were married. To friends and coworkers, the relationship seemed stable enough. But privately, Anna began to feel something was wrong almost immediately. According to her brother, Anna confided in her family shortly after returning from their honeymoon that she believed she had made a mistake. She admitted that she felt no passion and no real love toward John, only a sense of obligation. Despite these feelings, Anna chose to stay. Her faith played a significant role in that decision. She believed that love could grow over time, that dedication and patience would eventually bring them closer together. As the years passed, Anna maintained close contact with her family in New Zealand, especially her mother. They spoke often, sharing daily life, struggles, and hopes. This connection would later become crucial because Anna was not the kind of person who disappeared without explanation. In August of 2002, Anna gave birth to their daughter, Gracie. What should have been a joyful time quickly became overwhelming. Gracie was born with hip dysplasia, a condition that required her to wear a corrective harness for the first 3 months of her life. The treatment was painful, and Gracie cried constantly. Anna spent countless nights awake, caring for her daughter and managing feeding difficulties that led to additional health concerns. It was exhausting, both physically and emotionally. But while Anna devoted herself fully to Gracie, John reacted very differently. From the beginning, John appeared distant and resentful toward his daughter. He struggled to cope with her crying. According to multiple accounts, he never bonded with Gracie and expressed frustration rather than compassion. At one point, he even referred to her as a cripple. The strain on the marriage intensified. Communication between John and Anna deteriorated, and tension filled their home. Anna confided in her family that life with John felt empty and emotionally cold. She hoped things would improve once Gracie grew older and the stress of her medical condition eased, but instead, the distance between them only widened. Not long after Gracie's birth, John made a major life decision without consulting Anna. He quit his job at the bank and began working for himself as a conveyancer, managing property transactions from a home office. Anna suspected that John was struggling with the social demands of his job and saw self-employment as a way to escape pressure. In September of 2003, the couple purchased a larger home on Prince Street in Mornington, close to John's parents. The move was supposed to represent a new chapter for their growing family. Just weeks after moving in, Anna discovered she was pregnant again. This time, they were expecting a boy. Anna was overjoyed. She told friends she felt hopeful again, as though this new life might bring healing to their fractured family. She had already chosen a name for the baby, Francis. John's reaction was the opposite. He was angry and withdrawn, even questioning whether the baby was his. Anna later told loved ones that he resented the pregnancy deeply. Rather than celebrating, he became increasingly irritable and isolated. He began suffering from insomnia and sought medical help, eventually being prescribed sleeping pills, but they offered little relief. At night, John lay awake. He felt trapped by responsibility, unable to meet expectations as a husband and father. He did not know how to communicate these feelings, and instead of seeking help, he allowed resentment to fester. On the 21st of March, 2004, the Sharpe family attended a birthday party for one of their nephews. To everyone present, they appeared happy. No one noticed any signs of trouble. The children played, the adults talked and laughed, and Anna spoke excitedly about the baby she was expecting. 2 days later, on the 23rd of March, everything changed. That night, John and Anna argued. What was said during that argument remains unclear, but it was intense enough. Later that evening, sometime between 9 and 10 p.m., Anna fell asleep. John did not. Unable to calm himself, John went to the garage and retrieved a spear gun, a weapon he had recently taken an unusual interest in, despite never actually going fishing. He returned to the bedroom where his pregnant wife slept. And in that moment, the life Anna had been trying so desperately to hold together was taken from her. In the hours after Anna was killed, in the house on Prince Street, there were no signs of forced entry and no blood trails leading down the hallway. Upstairs, Anna's body lay concealed beneath a blanket, while downstairs, John Sharpe tried to convince himself that what he had done could somehow be undone. He did not call for help. He did not contact emergency services. He did not wake his parents, who lived nearby. When morning came, John carried on as though life had not been altered. He dressed Gracie, placed her in the car, and drove her to nursery, just as he had done on countless other days. To the staff there, nothing seemed unusual. John appeared quiet, but not distressed enough to raise an alarm. After dropping Gracie off, John began telling people that Anna had left him. He claimed that their marriage had been falling apart and that she had taken off during the night. He suggested she might have returned to New Zealand or gone to stay with someone else. For a short time, some people believed him. Back in New Zealand, her mother grew increasingly anxious when days passed without hearing from her daughter. Anna had never gone this long without making contact. Phone calls went unanswered. Messages were not returned. Concerned and frightened, Anna's mother reached out to her parish priest, explaining that she feared something was wrong. The priest, recognizing the seriousness of the situation, contacted police in New Zealand, who in turn alerted authorities in Victoria. A welfare check was requested at the Sharpe family home. When police arrived at Prince Street, John repeated his story. He told them Anna had left him after an argument and that he did not know where she had gone. There was nothing immediately obvious to contradict his account. Without a body or clear evidence of a crime, police had little choice but to treat Anna as a missing person. As the days passed, John's behavior became increasingly unsettling. Rather than appearing frantic or desperate to locate his pregnant wife and young daughter, he seemed detached. He gave interviews to the media, presenting himself as a confused husband abandoned without warning. On national television, he stared directly into the camera and addressed Anna by name, asking her to contact him if she was watching. He said all he wanted was to know that Gracie was safe. The public felt sympathy for him. Others, however, sensed something was wrong. His lack of visible emotion and his carefully chosen words felt rehearsed rather than genuine. Behind the scenes, something far darker was unfolding. 4 days after killing Anna, John made another decision, one that would forever cement the horror of what he had already done. Gracie, still unaware of the danger around her, was sleeping in her bed. She trusted the only parent she had left. That night, John took the same spear gun he had used on Anna and entered his daughter's room. He killed her as she slept. A life that had barely begun was ended by the person meant to protect her above all others. Afterward, John wrapped her body and placed it with Anna's. Days later, John disposed of both bodies at a local landfill. He chose a place designed to bury things permanently. It was a calculated act, meant to ensure that Anna, Gracie, and the unborn baby Francis would never be found. Meanwhile, police continued searching for a missing woman and child. Anna's family clung to hope, believing she might still be alive somewhere, unable to imagine the truth that was waiting beneath the surface. Investigators began to notice inconsistencies in John's story. Small details did not align. There was also the matter of Anna's personality. Everyone who knew her agreed on one thing: she would never have left Gracie behind. She would never have vanished without telling her mother. Police searched the house again, this time more thoroughly. They noticed the absence of personal items Anna would have taken if she had truly left voluntarily. Her passport remained behind. So did her clothing and belongings. The more investigators looked, the less believable John's explanation became. Under pressure, John's carefully constructed narrative began to collapse. Eventually, confronted with mounting evidence and relentless questioning, he confessed. He admitted to killing Anna while she slept, claiming he felt overwhelmed and trapped. He described retrieving the spear gun from the garage and firing it into her head. He admitted that she did not die immediately and that he fired a second shot to finish what he had started. He also admitted to killing Gracie days later, saying he could not cope with the idea of raising her alone. And most damaging of all, he had been seen visiting Chelsea Beach, the same location where Anna's phone and bank card were later discovered hidden in the bushes. Anna had not taken them with her. John had placed them there himself. The confession stunned investigators. Even those with decades of experience struggled to comprehend the coldness of his actions. The landfill where John had disposed of their bodies covered an enormous area filled with thousands of tons of waste. Finding 2 small bodies among it was a task many believed was impossible. But authorities persisted. Teams of forensic specialists, police officers, and volunteers worked day after day, carefully sifting through layers of rubbish under harsh conditions. The search lasted weeks. Anna's family waited in agony, suspended between grief and hope. The remains of Anna Kemp and her daughter Gracie were found. The news rippled through Australia and beyond. John Sharpe was arrested and charged with the murders of his wife and daughter. The trial that followed exposed the depth of John Sharpe's deception, the purchase of the spear gun, the lies told repeatedly to friends, police, and the media. The emails he sent while pretending to be Anna, crafted to mislead her family. Even the flowers were sent to Anna's mother, using Anna's own bank card. Psychiatric evaluations painted a picture of a man who was emotionally stunted, socially withdrawn, and deeply resentful. Experts testified that John struggled with intimacy, communication, and responsibility. He saw his family not as people he loved, but as obligations that trapped him in a life he did not want. He was diagnosed with depression, but not to a degree that impaired his understanding of right and wrong. During sentencing, Justice Bernard Bongiorno delivered a blistering condemnation. He described the murders as barbaric and wicked in the extreme. He spoke directly about Gracie, calling her a defenseless child who had relied entirely on her father for protection. John Sharpe was sentenced to 2 life terms, with a non-parole period of 33 years. In the aftermath of the trial, more disturbing truths emerged. Members of John's family revealed that he had sexually abused a young relative during his teenage years. After the murders, additional individuals came forward, claiming John had behaved inappropriately around children in the past. Anna's family traveled from New Zealand. They had lost not only Anna, but Gracie, and the unborn baby boy Anna had already named. In August of 2005, John Sharpe stood before the court. He was found guilty and sentenced to 2 life terms in prison, with a non-parole period of 33 years. The judge described his actions as brutal and wicked in the extreme. Anna Kemp, Gracie Sharpe, and baby Francis were buried together under Anna's maiden name. What happened to Anna Kemp, her daughter Gracie, and the unborn baby Francis is almost impossible to comprehend. A family that should have been safe behind closed doors was destroyed by the one person they trusted most. Today, their story stands as a reminder that appearances can be dangerously misleading, and that the greatest threats are not always strangers in the dark, but those who share our homes and our lives.